everyone, welcome back to another video. My name is Rupkata Bhattacharya and you're watching my channel, which is named after me because I lack creativity. Now I find myself starting the past few videos by saying the same thing. Hey, I'm sorry for not posting a video for quite some time. And that is because I am the least consistent person on this planet currently, and I find myself not making a video because I feel lazy. Not because I do not like making videos, it's like one of my only hobbies, but because I'm too lazy to get here, set up my mobile to shoot and then start talking. And also because I had COVID for the past few weeks, so I was unable to make a video. And with that out of the way, let me come to today's topic. So I've been seeing a lot of people make videos on their reading stats for 2021 because I'll be honest, I'm not original. I make videos on what I see other people are making because my ideas, they don't come. I don't have any idea on what to make a video, and when I do make a video, it's probably not original. Okay. So I've been seeing people share their reading stats of 2021, including Goodreads, Storygraph, their personal stats, etc. And I thought, why not I share my reading stats too, to show you that I too am an interesting person. Anyways, so I like to begin with Goodreads, and I'll see on my tab here, so if I'm looking down, that's what I'm doing. And you can see on the screen what I'm talking about. So with no further ado, let's begin with Goodreads first, and then we'll go to Storygraph, and then I'll just discuss my goals for 2022 with you. There's timestamps in the description, so if you want to jump around, then go ahead. Right, so we'll begin with Goodreads. My yearly reading goal for Goodreads was 60 books, which I surpassed by reading 94 books. When I was approaching the 90s, which was in the beginning of November, I thought, why not read till 100 and read 100 books in the year and stop. But unfortunately, I was in a really bad reading slump starting from mid-November and going till December's end, so I could not make it past 94, but that's still a huge amount of books to read in 1 year. And basically, I was able to read so much, which someone in school cannot do, is because I was ignoring my actual important tasks like school assignments and other chores that I should do, which were actually important, by procrastinating. My form of procrastination is reading. So basically, I was just reading and doing nothing productive. That is why I could get to 94. And before that, in 2020, when I actually paid attention to my chores and assignments, I generally read 20 to 25 books. So this year was like a huge steep upwards towards reading. I think making videos about books did play a part in that, because if I read books and I can make videos about that. Not that I do make videos, I make 2 videos a month, and generally other than that I just feel lazy and I do nothing. For pages, I read 30,835 pages. This I have no particular goal in reading pages because I have no idea how that works. I mean, particularly for pages, it's okay. I don't care how many I'm reading in a month. My shortest book this year was My Sister Daisy, which was actually an arc that I got from the publisher via NetGalley. It's a short and sweet book, and I'll be honest, I applied for the arc of this book just so I could add it to my reading goal. I am competitive that way, and even though it was a pretty enjoyable book, it's a book written by a parent of a trans kid discussing how her brother feels about her transition, and I enjoyed reading it. My longest book was City of Heavenly Fire by Cassandra Clare. Not one of my best moments. It actually took me a year to finish reading the Mortal Instruments series by Cassandra Clare because it was that bad. I read till the 5th book halfway and I stopped reading the series in the June of 2020, and in February of 2021 I wanted to read the Dark Artificer series, which is like a sequel series to this one. My lighting is way off today. So yeah, the Dark Artificer series is a sequel series to Cassandra Clare's The Mortal Instruments. So I wanted to finish this series before I went to that and tie up the loose ends that I have, which is a major reason why I even read City of Heavenly Fire. If I did not already have the books of the Dark Artifices, I would not have finished it because it was that bad. Cassandra Clare's The Mortal Instruments is just incest, garbage, and more garbage. It has no content. It's just there. I still don't know why a lot of people like this series, but I guess it's because it's addictive. But for me, it was trash, yeah. My average book length in 2021 was 328 pages, which was pretty short comparatively. I enjoy reading short things. I only like reading big books if I am really invested in the character. Other than that, 350 pages is my ideal book length. And keeping that in mind, this does make sense. My most popular book was The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan. This was my first time reading the Percy Jackson series, and I really enjoyed the first book in the series, but the next 4 books were not that fun for me. But even then, it was fun reading this series. I can see why it's so popular. I can also see why so many people like it. But if I was 9 or 10 while reading this book for the first time, I myself would have enjoyed it. But as a 14-year-old, I did not find The Lightning Thief by Rick Riordan that compelling. It was okay. There's no other way to describe it. Then my least popular book was The Goddess of Limbo by Lee Falls. The Goddess of Limbo was another book that I got the ARC for. It was a huge book. It was like 800 pages. It was epic fantasy and it was marketed as a feminist and queer take on Game of Thrones. I have not read Game of Thrones. I don't know how that is, but Goddess of Limbo was amazingly bad. Goddess of Limbo firstly had too many characters to be engaging. There were characters who only had like 1 or 2 pages of point of view in the entire book, and their point of view chapters do nothing to push the story forward. They felt like scene fillers to extend the gap between the important chapters. Overall, Goddess of Limbo was not a favorite of mine. I would not recommend it, but I am interested in seeing what the author whose debut novel this is will be putting up in the future years, how the sequels of Goddess of Limbo will go. I'm pretty excited to see that, but this book in itself was not a good one. I think it needs 2 or 3 more rounds of editing to be, to cut off the filler chapters, to cut out the filler scenes, to make it a masterpiece. It does have potential, but right now it's pretty bland. My average rating for 2021 is 3.8, which is in character because I love giving books 5 stars. I'm an easy to please person and I usually read books that I know I love. I don't go for books that I don't read books just to rant about them. I don't like doing that because it becomes physically impossible for me to read through that book if I know I'll be hating it. I try to pick books that I'd like to go in blind, and most of the time I come out be feeling quite satisfied. Alright, so my highest rated on Goodreads was Heartstopper Volume 4, which is pretty good because Heartstopper is God's gift to this planet. The Heartstopper book series is one of my favorite book series. If you've been on my channel for a while now, I love Elise Osman and I love their books, and Heartstopper is one of my favorite reads of 2021. If you're watching this right now, you could go on Webtoon and read the entire Heartstopper series, or you could order the novels online from wherever you want. Do anything but read Heartstopper. It's a book that everyone should read once in their lifetime. My first review of the book was The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Susan Collins, which I rated 3 stars. This book was, again, okay. It was 3 stars. I don't have many feelings about it. I don't feel badly about it. I don't feel nicely about it. I just thought that it was not a deserving finishing to the Hunger Games series. It was not a book that was required. The Hunger Games series, which is also quite a favorite series of mine, deserved way better than this. I think the third book actually gave pretty good ending to the whole series, which made this book insubstantial. Is that even a word? And my last review of the year was Please Look After Mom by Kyung Suk Shin. I may be pronouncing that wrong. I really apologize if I am. So Please Look After Mom is a Korean translated into English novel which was a global bestseller in, I don't know when it was released, but it was a global bestseller when it was released. So this one started out pretty emotional, but by the end of this book it turned quite boring. It felt like the author was writing such emotions just for the sake of provoking those emotions in the reader. It was majorly tell and not showing, and overall the message of this book was pretty much killed because please look after mom. The titular character is a person without flaws. Though I relate to this book a lot, but at the end it was plain boring. I did not enjoy it much, but I did give it 2 stars because it had quite a strong beginning. It just died out by the end. So that was Goodreads. Now we'll move on to Storygraph to discuss Storygraph. But before that, my Storygraph data is pretty wrong. I started using Storygraph towards the end of this year, so it was pretty messed up and I do not bother fixing it up. Mostly because I do not know how to use Storygraph, and also because again I am lazy. Beginning with Storygraph, according to it, I read 93 books in 2021, which is wrong because I read 94 books, so 1 book is missing, and that book is Heartstopper Volume 5. I added this to Goodreads because I read the novel on Webtoon, so obviously I had 1 extra book which was not published yet, but it still counts. And another thing that's, I don't know if it's wrong or not, but if you can see, I think the pages count is larger than it was on Goodreads, so there might be a mistake here and there and the pages is reduced. I have no idea why it's like that. Now, one thing that I do love about Storygraph is that how it gives all the statistics and all this graph. Unlike Goodreads, which is just plain and boring, Storygraph's got all that colors and I love it. According to moods, my largest mood is adventurous, which I have read 52 books from. I think it's pretty explainable why I have read so many adventurous books, because I read a lot of YA books and a lot of fantasy books, so most of those books count as adventurous. That is why this is my largest genre. My second largest genre is emotional, which I have no idea why. It's probably because a lot of books might be counted as emotional if they have characters crying or stuff like that. And my third is dark, and this one is pretty explainable. I do like reading dark stuff like the Poppy War, like the Maidens, etc. I am someone who does enjoy reading dark and gruesome and gore and stuff like that, which is why it's pretty explainable why dark is on my top 3 moods. My pace is medium. I've read mostly medium-paced books, and that is because I do enjoy books that have a steady pace. Slow-paced is the least that I have read, and that is true because I absolutely hate slow-paced books. They get on my nerves. I hate it when an author usually just goes on dragging about the description of the water and the trees and everything that's on this planet except for the important things. So this one is pretty understandable. 300 to 499 is my ideal page rate. And that is true. Again, I said my mostly like to read books that are 350 pages in length, and I usually move forward that page length only if I am really engaged into the characters or really interested in reading the book that has been put out. Now, the funniest thing is I have read 99% fiction books and only 1% non-fiction books, and that is because I've only read 1 non-fiction book throughout the entire year. My genre, my top genre is LGBTQIA+. I like reading queer stuff. I like reading sapphic books, so it's pretty explainable why. Young adult, again, most of these books are also overlapping because a lot of young adult books are also mostly sapphic or MLM and mostly fantasy too. So this one is pretty overlapping, however you say that. So this one is not, this one's not really accurate. Moving on to format, again, format's not accurate because I only tracked this in December, and that's why a lot of books which are actually in print are added as digital, and a lot of books which are digital are added as print. My most read author is Elise Oseman. Again, she's my favorite. And then we've got Cassandra Clare, and that is because I owned a lot of books from her. I bought them from College Street, which is Asia's largest second-hand book market. I got them for pretty low prices, and that's why I read all of them. And her books were not really interesting. Then we've got Leigh Bardugo, from whom I have read 5 books. I don't know how oh yeah, the Saturn Born trilogy because I wanted to watch the show, and the Six of Crows duology because it was very interesting. I do recommend Six of Crows, it was a fun read. And then I've got a few more authors that I have read. Then these are my reading stats, which show number of books and pages. The most amount of books that I have read was in May 2021, and the least amount of books that I have read was in November 2021. My average rating is similar to what's on Goodreads, is 3.78, and I haven't yet utilized the 0.5 marking system that Storygraph has, but I do think it's an amazing marking system because sometimes you just got to give those 0.5 or 0.25 to a book and you can't settle on a whole number, so it's pretty interesting to use those, but I haven't gotten around to using them yet, but I think I'll be using them for 2021. So that was Storygraph, and that's done. Now I wanted to discuss my channel stats. My channel, when I started in 2021's January, had 35 subscribers. When I ended, I had 131 subscribers. So that's like 100 subscribers that have increased, and it was quite a fun journey. My channel started blowing up in October because of the Iron Widow video, which is close to hitting 3K. So if you haven't watched it already, the link's in the description. I am doing shameless self-promo right now. Now I'll just talk about my goals for 2022. So for my channel, I want to hit 200 subscribers, which that's just a tiny goal for right now because I have no faith in this channel. I have 142 subscribers right now, and I just want to hit 200. And I hope that's not a very big deal. I'm hoping to hit it by August 2022, and I'll set more goals after that. I'm also looking forward to making more consistent videos, and those are the only two goals I have for my channel. For reading, I have read more sci-fi books, one of my goals, read more sci-fi and fantasy book, read less YA, read 2 non-fiction, read 5 classic books, and try audiobooks. Most of these goals are pretty self-explanatory. Sci-fi and fantasy books because I have not read many sci-fi books this year, and I also want to read some classic fantasy books like Brandon Sanderson, Wheel of Time, and George R.R. Martin, and a lot of other authors. I want to read less YA because I just don't find it challenging enough for me. I want to read things that are deep, not a love triangle. I want to read things that I have something to gain from, and that currently is not the YA genre. I feel like branching out and reading more mature and different genres will do me some good. I want to read non-fiction books because I only read one non-fiction book back in 2021, and I feel like non-fiction would be something that I could have a lot to learn from, and that is why it's on my list. And lastly, 5 classic books because I did not read classics in 2021 at all. Before 2021, I previously mentioned on this channel, I used to read a lot of classics, and I feel like I am missing out on classics again, so I want to start reading more classics like the Bronte sisters and some more works from other popular authors. And lastly, try audiobooks because I've never tried an audiobook before in my life. I think that it could be fun. I could listen to audiobooks while doing my assignments and stuff like that. So that's it. And these were my reading stats for 2021. If you watched this entire video, you're my favorite person on this planet. Try leaving a comment down below if you want to discuss stuff, anything at all. And if you did like this video, leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. Do not forget to hit that bell icon because I've got some good videos coming up. Thank you for watching. Be safe in this pandemic, and goodbye.